right, like he has, then it means that if you've already got world-class riflers and they're essentially then like backing up sometimes, they just become even more effective. And this game isn't going to start yet. Okay, so tell me when it goes live. I'm just going to check something.
Okay.
Because also, as I was saying before, if we look at the other maps, the reason Nuke might be significant is, let's imagine Navi make it to the upper bracket final versus any team, even Moscow 5. Moscow 5 can be good on Nuke sometimes. So I'd put Moscow 5 ahead of Navi on Nuke if they somehow played in the upper bracket final also. So
yeah, I would agree.
Navi would then drop down to the lower bracket, and then they would have to play, this is assuming they were lost in the upper bracket final, they would play Inferno to get back up again, which is like, I'd say Inferno's like the third map for them. They can be good on it, usually when they have a really good CT half, but it's still not like in the bag. And then we don't know what the final would be, but then if you go back in time and imagine a different scenario, let's say, how would Moscow 5 get to the upper bracket final? So the upper bracket semi-final is on Inferno, and while SK's actually been pretty good on that map, I think that would be the best map to see them play Moscow 5 on. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
And then the lower bracket final is on Train. So actually I think of those teams, Moscow 5 is the one who needs to not have to play any of either SK or Navi in the lower bracket final.
Yep.
So it's actually interesting in the sense that it's not just like whether the teams meet, it's actually in particular when they meet. Because obviously in best of 3 tournaments, when you meet just is in the sense of like how much pressure is there on you, in the sense of like, are you going to the final, are you in the semi-final? Here it's going to be like, when you meet is going to be determine which map because of the structure of GameGune. Although I do think what will be interesting here as well is, in the past, just because of the way the competitive mindset was, people always used to feel like the team who got to the final was like a ridiculous favourite to win. And not, I don't just mean because the lower team has to win 2 maps, but just because like the psychological advantage used to be so huge. Whereas I actually feel like regardless of who loses the upper bracket final, both SK and Navi would have like no psychological disadvantage if they got to the grand final to play the 2 maps, you know, to try and win. I mean, you saw that last year from Fnatic beating FX.
Yeah.
Like if there had been any psychological pressure, they would have crumbled on the first map when it got to the overtimes, you know.
Yep.
This seems to be live, is it?
Oh, I might have been actually too focused on a Steam conversation, but okay, yeah, the match is actually live.
This is the pistol round. Ita is in a 1v2, but he gets ripped from the hiding spot.
And x6tence gets the pistol round. It's actually, I think, it's actually kind of an interesting matchup, seeing a Spanish and a French team playing on Dust 2. I feel like we talked about earlier, I feel like this is a map that I think both teams from both countries have traditionally been pretty good at. So it actually seems like a decent matchup. On like the train matchup between Defs and x6tence, that's almost like a map where neither of those teams would usually assume is very good at. So that makes puts less value on it maybe.
Yeah, it's also just spectating wise, it's also not fun to watch games where it's like who's the least worst on the map instead of like who's legitimately good.
Yeah. Agreed. And x6tence just walking outside of mid and gonna head into P. They're gonna kill Mystique in the back, and that's gonna be round.
I don't even know if LDLC's landed a bullet on them yet. I don't think so.
You look at us down to 30 health.
Ah, okay. So those shots actually were hitting before he got ripped.
Yeah. Let's see what Atlantis does. It's not gonna be actually finding anyone there.
I think part of why I've always thought the French teams were good on this map as well is because I've always thought the French team, the players especially, although now Eastern European teams have taken over them, were like one of the best for some reason with the Galil. And the Galil on this map, if you can use it well, can be really effective because there's so many like close combat situations where the CT has to engage you on close combat, or he has to give up a really good advantage to run into the site.
Yep.
I mean, you see that from teams like FX and Navi all the time. Like, if they go down middle and they have a half buy, they can still be super effective even if you have, like, full cults and ops and everything. But Existence is just going to hold back here and try and draw them out.
Yeah. Already down a man. Musambani died early.
If you had to guess, who would you pick as the favorite for this map? And
at this point, I really have no idea. Because it's not like I have seen either one of these teams play. But if I had to guess and just pick a team, put money on who's gonna win, I would say Existence.
See, I actually would have said that LDLC would be the favourite, even though they're losing the game at the moment. Just because mentally, when I think of like where each team is in their country and like where their countries stack up at the moment, I'd probably have said LDLC is like a little bit higher.
Existence actually won. They've won two last tournaments in Spain. They won I want to say maybe EPS Spain like a month ago or something like that, like around like maybe like a week after DreamHack, and they won Campus Party over other Spanish teams last weekend.
Oh, I think Existence skill-wise is actually probably better than LDLC. Like, I think they probably have a lot better aimers. But I actually would probably guess that LDLC is better tactically.
Yeah, I would assume so too. I mean, Striker, I don't think even when he got caught from Millennium, I don't think they really said anything about his strat calling. I think it was more just like they felt like they needed more raw skill on the lineup. And to be fair, we just saw him go 0 and 12 against SK, so that doesn't really bode too well for that. But I mean, you have to assume he's at least good at calling. Well, you know, we're not really sure if anybody on Existence is like a dedicated strat caller. I mean, at least I don't even know who calls strats on that team.
Sure, but of all the teams you're going to go and have a bad score against if you're not the stronger, well, let's just say a weak individual player, versus SK, I mean, it's going to be hard to pick up any frags there unless you've got like some legit skills.
It was just too easy of a point to make, considering the whole him getting cut for that reason. And it's going to be another round for Existence. This is like, by the way, a good example of what we talked about on that ESCA match we streamed, where teams save guns, but what they really do is go for exit kills that make no difference and die, when they could have just all fallen back, stacked B site, saved at least 2 guns. But instead they just wanted to get that one extra kill and then end up costing them an op and a gun.
And that's a scenario where the terrorists have won every round, they've planted the bomb, they've already got kills in the round, so even if you get the exit kill on that guy, you're not really doing anything. Like, you need to get that exit kill, and then you need to get exit kills in next rounds, and you need to win a round later for it to actually add up at all. Whereas when you lose your gun, the effect is huge on your economy.
Yeah, exactly.
So in that sense, it's like a really bad mistake. Even if it doesn't look like it, even if the situation is one where you might have a decent chance of getting the kill, it's actually mathematically really a bad move.
Yep. And we have another gun round here. Existence now jumped up 5-0 on the easier side of Dust 2. I'm not sure if anybody's still opping on Existence, so if LDLC does have a good opper, which I know Atlantis is an opper, that could actually make a huge difference in this game, because opping is one of the only ways you can really legitimately win a bunch of rounds in Dust 2 CT side, by hitting a lot of op shots. So considering Existence doesn't really have like a dedicated opper, that could really come in handy from a Frenchies. And they're actually double opping now. It looks like Existence is going to fake cat, and then other 2 members are going to take the bomb into B.
And Ostriker has to fall back to spawn.
And the bomb's been spotted in B. MSAG legs the other guy coming into B, but he's gonna get taken out now. That's kind of a weak play there.
Masambani hanging around middle, just hoping to shoot someone in the back.
Sayok's been leg shotted, but Ostriker's also down to 10 health. Looks good for existence right now.
Anytime he wants to, Masambani can kill this guy. I wonder what he's waiting for.
And LDLC is just playing too slow now. There's pretty much no way they're gonna win this round with how slow Eater is going in tunnels. And he was just so scared of someone being tunnels, he took way too long to clear that, and there's just no way they were ever gonna win that round. That's gonna make it 6-0 existence, and he just focused on that kill.
Dies for no reason.
Yeah, that was an easy kill too.
When you're actually leading a team, do you allow, even if you're dead, do you allow your players to make the decision over when they save in those scenarios?
Yeah, I mean, some of the lands you don't even get to talk at when you're dead. But like, I mean, if I have an opinion, like a strong opinion, I'll obviously, well, even if I'm dead, like if they say, oh, let's save, and I feel like they have to go for it, I'd be like, no, go for it. But I mean, a lot of it comes down, like, a lot of the time they'll make the same call anyways, and then if I just have like a really strong opinion about it, I'll say it. But Zyro's just got 3 kills during the HLTV lag, and now Yurko's left in a 1 versus 2.
And Ita's gonna gradually walk around to meet him.
He's gonna hear him pick up the bomb now. Now Ita knows where Yurko's at.
And a free kill, pretty much. It does seem like from the 2 games we've seen so far, MSHC is like the best player for LDLC.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it seems like for Existence actually that Zyros has been like significantly the best player.
Yeah. Also agreed.
And now they've got a good flank here.
That looked like a good push by LDLC to do something risky with those FAMASas since they're on a weak buy, but then they were unable to fall back.
Yeah, it seemed kind of pointless, especially when he sees Atlantis to die there, for Ita to still peek out.
Yeah. Actually, there was even a chance he could have just hid behind that door and Existence might have just kind of run out, assuming there was no one there, but never know.
Now Allstriker creeping up middle. About to meet Sayoka, we'll see how he says his name as we go on. Who's apparently in the same club as Fraud from like 2005.
I'm pretty sure his nickname's Sayok, I think. I think the R's like a random letter addition there. I think. I could be wrong. It says Sayok on ageltv.org, or the lineup, so I think I was right.
LDLC push out of long, 2 of them are going spawn. And Sayok is the one who's actually going to be looking there with the AK in a sec. Oh, the 2 guys coming lower that are going to get shot by him in a sec. Oh, and they aren't in fact. They're going to get 2 kills. And that's 2 free guns for them.
Well, that was
rather strange.
Yeah, you would think they would have maybe waited a little bit. Misty could have just covered him to try to go get that gun a little later on.
Especially when you're 7-1 down. Like what? You're not going to gain anything by doing that.
And that'll make it 8-1.
And it goes without saying right now that this is a must-win for LDLC this round. But actually they have some deagles, so which makes it even more... It tilts me even more that they lost that gun and now somehow have deagles. our striker has a